Hello and welcome to It's Not So Lonely at the Top podcast. This is a podcast for business leaders and business owners just like you. We're going to be sharing top tips on how to develop yourself personally and professionally. I'm going to be sharing updated podcasts on a regular basis, so please do make sure you subscribe, and I really hope you enjoy today's podcast. Hi, and welcome to today's episode of the InSlap podcast. I want to talk about leadership and why being liked is overrated, which is why I've called today's episode Unfiltered Leadership, Why Being Liked is Overrated. The thing is, I deal with many leaders, and many of them are scared of being liked and get confused between being liked and being respected. The thing is often we don't really fear failure. Some people fear failure, but many leaders don't necessarily fear failure. They fear judgment. And often they fear judgment from people that they wouldn't even necessarily take advice from, which is obviously a bit of a challenge. So I just want you to reflect on, have you taken any decisions recently and you second guessed what other people would think about it? Not really what the impact is on them, but what they'd think, whether they'd like it or not, and how that determines the way we choose to behave. See, there's a bit of a cost to this fear of being liked, and that is that it means that we're more likely to play it safe. It means that we may feel like we need to over-explain the decisions that we make because we're worried about what others are thinking. So feeling like we need to justify the things that we're doing, for example. It can lead to behavior like people-pleasing and really just overall diluting our message and our standards in the way we lead. Now, when we lead, we have to have a set of standards and principles, and diluting them to make sure that it fits someone else's agenda or to make sure that other people like it is what I class as the thin end of the wedge. You know, the more we worry about other people, the worse it's going to get, for example. So I guess the first thing when we think about being liked is, why do we care? You know, what is it that makes us care about what people think? Now, one of the things that I often think about is social media, for example, because social media for now is really rewarding popularity, for example. So, you know, people go online and they see likes and comments and things like that. So popularity, people's opinions, people's judgments have become really important to other people. So that's kind of the first thing. And then the second, probably deeper lying challenge is, you know, we're wired tribally. We're wired to be part of a community. You know, historically, humans would have lived in communities of 100 to 150 people. And if you got shunned from the community based on the judgment of others, that could mean death. You know, if you weren't part of the community, you would be out on a limb and out on your own. So there is an element of nature that we're wired to really understand and look for people judging what we're doing, and for them to like us. But we need to put it into context, right? Because if other people don't like us, it doesn't mean that we're going to get shunned from the tribe anymore. Hi, my name's Pete, and I want to thank you for tuning into today's podcast. I'm a coach, speaker, and author. And if you want to take your personal development that bit further, did you know that I offer a mastermind program as well as one-to-one coaching? If you're interested, please do reach out on peterushmer.com. Does that make sense? So I think it's important to really understand that rejection matters a lot less in today's society, and really just sort of make the balance, because the cost, really, from a cost perspective of making sure that we're being liked, is slow decisions, soft standards. It can even lead to burnout. I see it a lot in burnout because leaders spend so long second guessing what everyone else is thinking all the time that they lose a lot of energy around that, and that could be really challenging. And it means that we move from like having a positive intention to reacting to things, and that can be very stressful. So it does lead to stress as well. So I think when it comes to making decisions and whether whether we're needing people to like it or not, it's important that we just focus on the positive intention behind whatever decision we're making. So what can you do off the back of listening to this podcast? What can you do thinking about, oh, actually, yeah, I'm a little bit guilty of that. Sometimes I do prefer to be liked than making the right decision. Sometimes I do soften information because it's what I think the team will prefer. So I have a bit of a reframe, which is around drawing a distinction between being respected and being liked. I think a bit about Sir Alex Ferguson, for example. Many of you know that I'm a big Manchester United fan. Sir Alex Ferguson was despised by many people. They thought he was a bully. They thought that he intimidated referees. They thought that he was a control freak. So there was a lot of people that disliked him, and obviously just for being the Manchester United manager and the success that he created. It wasn't, some people will have loved him. Some people will have loved him. But there were many people that will have disliked him. But if you ask anyone who the most respected football manager of all time is, they're not saying Pep Guardiola. They're saying Sir Alex Ferguson. And he was very much an acquired taste. But people respected him. It was about respect. It was about the results that he got. And I'm not saying Sir Alex Ferguson's perfect, by the way, or the ideal leader, but he's very well respected. He focused on having control, and he had a style of leadership which got results at the time. Would he do things differently in today's world? Potentially. He might have led and managed his teams differently in today's world, but we can't judge someone's performance against our current world. We have to judge them based on the standards of their world that they operated in. And at the time, he was second to none, absolutely second to none. So we need to just contrast that. Is this decision going to be respected rather than being liked? Because generally speaking, for people to like things, it's around it suiting them. And sometimes we have to make decisions that aren't going to suit everybody, but they're right for the greater good. A good example of that, particularly using the Sir Alex Ferguson analogy, is he knew when the right time was to get rid of certain players. Some people didn't like it. He got rid of Roy Keane. Some people wouldn't have liked that. He offloaded David Beckham at his peak to Real Madrid. He let Ronaldo go to Real Madrid. A lot of those decisions won't have been liked, but they'll have been respected because he felt it was the right thing to do for the team. It was the right thing to do for the overall performance. So I think that's quite a worthwhile thing to really think about. And I hope I haven't lost you with the football references. I think the other thing to get, to reframe your thought processes around this fear of judgment is, would you swap lives with those people that are judging you? And if you wouldn't swap lives with those people judging you, probably not worth listening to their opinion, to be honest. Or whether they like something or not. It's about what's right for the business. And I think the clear thing to really think about from a reframe perspective is, does it align with your values? What's most important to you as a leader, and does it align with that? So to put this into practice, what I want you to take away is to really change the way you view challenges, to view the way you communicate, to change the way you fear other people's judgment. First of all, think about your values. What's most important to you? So for me, discipline, courage, wisdom. I need to make sure that I filter things through those things that are most important to me, as well as courage as well. So we need to have courage to make the right decision for me. We need to make sure that we behave with discipline. We have to have justice to make sure that it's fair. As long as any decisions filter through my value system, I know that it's the right thing to do, despite whether it's popular or not. The other thing to think about that you put into practice is work out what's noise and what's actual feedback. So, I do advocate for things like employee engagement surveys, which is where people do get to complain if they want to. But teams give feedback on levels of engagement and satisfaction at work. I think it's important to take that feedback, but we're able to separate that from noise, because sometimes when people judge and criticize others, it is just noise, because it isn't quite what someone wanted to do. It didn't quite fit with their map of the world. But overall, they respect and are happy in their role. We need to just take away the immediacy of the worry around the judgment of whatever decisions that are going to be made. And then the third thing, so 2 things so far, values, making sure that we align our decisions with our values. The second is about working out what's actual feedback and what's just noise. And then the third thing is realizing that often it's just an opinion and that every person has got one. So if we continue to make decisions, to behave in a way where we're fearful of what other people's opinions are, it really is going to lead us down a dangerous path as a leader. It's really, really important that we just realize that people are going to have opinions based on what's best for them, not necessarily what's best for the whole. And if you focus too much on other people's opinions that haven't got the whole company's interests at heart, because usually people's opinions only have their own best interests at heart, I think it's important to realize that. It was something that I was reflecting on my recent podcast interview with Kieran that many of you will have seen. I think that it's really important that we do focus on moving away from the fear of other people's criticism, other people's judgments, and that we move towards making sure that we behave with positive intention, make decisions with positive intention that are aligned with our values. And if it upsets a few people, sadly, sometimes that's what's necessary. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast, and I look forward to seeing you on a future one. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on today's It's Not So Lonely at the Top podcast. We really hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. I'm absolutely delighted that you took the time to listen, and I really hope that you'll subscribe to ensure that you receive future episodes too. If you want to find out any more, please do search It's Not So Lonely at the Top podcast, and you'll find it on your favourite podcast app. Thank you.